you know, barberry is superior in every way, really. So yeah, I was really disappointed with goji's after it took me about 10 years to finally have a berry off the blinking thing. So for outside stuff, December's been a bit of a write-off in some respects. It's just not been very nice. It's been cold or it's been wet, and I've kind of held up in the workshop, and that's all I've done really. Next month or so, I want to start working my way through this pile of oak and getting it ready for firewood for a couple of years' time. Came off that far tree over there, which isn't very healthy, unfortunately. It's got lots of fungus on the bottom. But it dropped this huge branch, which is bigger than a tree, and I've logged up some of it, and we have started drying it, but not got that far with it. The chickens, obviously, have not been enjoying their avian flu lockdown, although they have been dry. The pens that I use, the kind of Harris panel pens, are fine in the cold. This year I've put some extra tarps over the top of them, and although the one side's open and it's vented at the back, even when it got down to like -10, they were still absolutely fine. Now, I got a couple of bales of straw, and I've been chucking them straw every few days, and they seem happy enough. I mean, it's not ideal. I'd rather have them outside when they can. They get grass and stuff, but I've still got some apples from the orchard, so they've been eating those. So when we had that cold snap, I did get round just before it, harvested my New Zealand yams and stuff, but it has killed off a lot of stuff. So you can see on this side of the garden, that was all nasturtiums. Now it looks like someone's draped it in tapeworms. It's really horrible. It just looks awful. I'm guessing it'll rot down. I know it will. It won't be too long until it's all gone. It does look awful. I've got these fruit bushes were brilliant this year. So I've got black currants and gooseberries, 10 of each, down here. So down this side and down this side. I need to prune these. I haven't got around to that yet. I've got quite a few people want cuttings. There's some brilliant new varieties of blackcurrant, really worth growing. This is called Black Ebony, and so tasty, so big. They were just like dessert blackcurrants. You eat them straight off the bush. Such an upgrade from the old blackcurrants that I used to grow just from Mum's cuttings and stuff from her garden. So it's really worth looking at some new varieties of stuff. And the gooseberries have been great as well. And actually, so these 10 rows, if you can see, go down the side of the garden. I didn't net these, and these are only 2 years old, almost as, you know, what are they, 4 foot tall. Needs pruning back quite hard this year, but we had 10 kilos of gooseberries, 10 kilos of blackcurrants. It was a superb, absolutely superb. The goji, I only put a post in here and hold it more upright. It kind of has this sprawling habit where it just falls over. But to be honest with you, absolutely disgusting berries. Really, really awful. I'm not sure why I'm still growing it. Maybe it needs pulling out and replacing with something else, but they just weren't nice. So I dried them, and I thought, well, maybe they're nice dried, you know, like a barberry is. But, you know, barberry is superior in every way, really. So yeah, I was really disappointed with goji's after it took me about 10 years to finally have a berry off the blinking thing. Trying different plants and stuff. That one was called Early Success or something, but yeah, horrible. Absolutely horrible. So, obviously, I haven't done much in the garden. Haven't managed to do my half-hour day. It's just been impossible, really. I wanted to start moving this greenhouse. Still not happened. You can see, so this is the smell. You can't smell the rotting brassicas. I think all these mild winters lull us into, you know, a false sense of security. And then when we get like a cold winter, it hits really, really hard. So you can see here, and I can't remember if you can remember my October or November walkabout. You know, my perennial kale was looking ace, and now look at it, absolutely decimated. But I've got some new growth. It's not dead, but we're not going to be eating much off that the next month or so. I did have someone coming for some cuttings, so I'm hoping it's going to grow back in the next month or so and have enough there for cuttings for people. And I want to grow this all down the one side the polytunnel is my thinking. It could just go down there, and you better growing something, you just grow weeds. So that's the plan with that perennial kale. Loads of cuttings this year. I hope it improves my growing areas. And then in the little greenhouse, I think the key thing to remember in a greenhouse actually and undercover areas is to water stuff. Stuff has survived in here okay. Got some walking onions and Egyptian onions there. And then down on my beds, everything's still survived in here. The frost and the cold didn't affect it too much. A few of the lamb's lettuce got a bit of fungi. Probably want pulling out actually. Maybe I'll do that after I finish this video. But yeah, everything kind of survived in here. I've also got this, which I'm looking forward to growing on and getting bigger, and then plant it out next year and doing cuttings. And that's, I think it's called 7 Stars broccoli, isn't it? 7 Stars? Which is a perennial broccoli, like the perennial kale. Because perennial kale has been such a success, I thought I'd continue with my perennial brassicas. So I want to grow lots of that and try and find space to put lots of that in as well. Pigeons can decimate it then, it won't matter too much if I've got loads. Now this cold snap we had noticed, we did know it was coming. It's not like we haven't got weather forecasts. So I definitely should have been a bit hotter on harvesting stuff. So this was I used a third of this bed of beetroot, and I got to the point where I was pickling it, and I pickled loads. Now these are all rotten and horrible. So I think that better luck next year. Need to be better at using stuff when it's ready and not waiting. The same with my red cabbage. You know, it's an autumn red cabbage. I'm not sure what I was expecting really, but nothing else has survived in there. Even my kale has been had by that. It's quite damp here as well, which I don't think helps. So it's not my kale over, and it's just not coming back really. There was one thing over here actually. One thing I had done was when I cleared off this area outside the garden, was I just scattered some old seeds I had, and had quite a few of these come up, which obviously the frost has had now. I don't know if you can see that very well. And that is a turnip Swede, a cross between the two. And like some of these crosses, I feel like it gets the worst of both worlds. It's just not... it's not as good as a Swede. I love my Swedes. It just doesn't taste as good as a Swede. It's got that bitterness of a turnip and seems to kind of go in your soups or stews or whatever and gives that bitterness. And so it's just not nice. I won't be growing that again. But it was interesting to grow. Had a really, big size root of it. I tried it in 2 different things, and both times just didn't work for me. The leeks still looking good. We're working our way through these slowly. Have got that little bug in it, which I think I've avoided for the 10 years I've been here. So when you have to cut it open now, so maybe next year you have to take out the bug. So maybe next year I'll have to net this, which is a disappointment really. I hate netting stuff if I can get away with it. And then this is my green manures. I had planted in September my field beans, or October. I planted them a little late. That frost killed them all off. So I've still got some of the clover growing, but there's not on any of these beds a field bean that survived. So that's a disappointment, for the green manure, but it's not the end of the world. Could be worse. The other thing I didn't do was harvest my yacon in time, so I'm fairly sure that's going to be a rotten mess if I ever get around to digging it up, which I will try and do next week when the kids are back at school. And then the polytunnel. Some stuff survived really well in here, some didn't. So my peas, I had peas down there. You can see that side. They've all died off. Nothing left of my peas. Turnip greens have survived fine. It's not touched them. And chard and rocket all seem fine as well. And these were some purple seeded broad beans. And about half of these survived. Actually, I've got this bale of straw here. Oop, I'll turn it around this way, sorry. This bale of straw here. And the ones that were up against the bale of straw have survived fine. I'm guessing the insulation, a bit of extra insulation from them. But the rest haven't. And then further on down I had some more peas. They've also been killed off by this. So, you take the risk, don't you, in winter, trying to get as early a crop as possible for next year. And you win some and you lose some. Seed's not expensive, especially if you save a lot of it yourself. It's not the end of the world. So the next few weeks, even when it's raining, you can hear it's raining now actually, I want to get these old tomato plants out, which look horrible, and get this side all prepped and sorted as well. Something I can do no matter the weather, which is always nice to have. Yeah, so lots of plans for next year. It's always good fun to think about what you're going to do. Take this sally tree back a bit more. Every year it's been encroaching for the last 10. So last year it was out past where this chicken pen was, so I took it back. And I want to do the same on this other side. There used to be enough room to plant another tree there, and it's kind of it keeps falling over and growing. So if I can take that back a little bit, get some firewood out of it, but keeps the tree nice and healthy as well. And then the other one is this damson tree. Well, it was meant to be a damson tree, and unfortunately it didn't. It grew past the scion wood, so it's just the rootstock. Doesn't fruit. This is 10 years old now, or will be 10 years old. I'm going to take this out, and I've tried grafting it over, just doesn't seem to work. It's just too vigorous what's left on there. So I'm going to pull it out, dig it up with my digger, and then I've ordered a black pear, a Worcester black pear, and I've ordered it on the big old rootstock. Mum and Dad had these beautiful old pear trees, and one of them fell down last year, or the year before, and I thought actually it'd be lovely to have like a big old pear tree. People used to look at them from a distance, think they were oak trees, they were that big. So I'm hoping that would be really cool to put that in there. And you see over here, the kids have put a goal in. So they've been playing football down between my rows of plum trees. I've got 15 different plum trees down here. And actually I'm thinking this year we might be getting a little tractor. Ooh. So what I might do is turn over a strip down here and turn over a strip down there, and maybe grow some grains or a big pot of beans or peas or something. Just something a bit different, and see if we can get some more of our staples, which I think would be really good fun. And the kids can have that bit there to play their football. I'm fine with that. So yeah, that's all at the moment. I hope you've all had a good 2022, and here's to next year.